The loyalty of all the other gang members is something that's quite remarkable. They did not want to dissociate themselves with the Krays and in that way appear unloyal, because this was the structure, this was the society.
We're loyal to the culture. We're loyal to the friends that we've always known, the people we drink with, the people we eat with, the people we piss and shit with.
I put them before my own family. You know, Chris just had to go along with it, whether he liked it or not. That was chosen, but I went down that road, and there was no going back.
They didn't have to go down. They could have done what Albert done and what I done. They thought, well, the twins will get us off with this. They've got good lawyers, good barristers, plenty of money about for them. God knows what they paid. The rest of them had to get legal aid.
Did your council ever suggest a diminished responsibility?
They done it indirectly. The message did come down the line if I wanted diminished responsibility. But of course it would have been guilty to go with it first and deals afterwards.
And you didn't want that?
No.
Why?
Because there was nothing there. I think they just wanted me guilty. And morally, for me it wasn't right morally. I couldn't go against my own brother, so that was it.
Do you think that if you'd have taken their offer, they then would have wanted you to damage Ronnie's case?
I'm sure that would have been the case, yeah.
No, diminished responsibility does not apply to someone who says I never did it. It's as one would say, there's an alibi and self-defense. You can't have both. If he said, yes, I did it, then we look into what the state of his mind was at the time. But he always denied he did any of the offences.
I wasn't surprised at the sentences in any way. A gang of people that had ruled the East End of London by a regime of terror and fear, had killed people coldly, analytically, motivelessly, in full view of other people, simply because they wanted to exercise their authority as gang leaders.
How old are you now?
66.
And how long have you been in prison?
Just over 33 years.
33 years? So you've spent literally half your life in prison.
Reggie would have been in a place like this. This is a cell, it's not wide and it's not long. And you never felt the cold until you've been in somewhere like this. He might have had a few photographs and pictures on the wall, a bed there, maybe he'd been allowed a bed cover and a radio, and that would have been his total existence.
Day to day, that's how you live it. That's how you live it. You survive it, you come out of it. But you can never forget it.
I've seen a man killed over a small transistor radio. Man walked by me and said, "Good morning, Chris," and walked in the cell and murdered a man with a homemade knife in cold blood over a small transistor radio. What price life?
I had a certain amount of trouble there, and over the years I've done a certain amount of cons, inmates, for different reasons. So I sold some of the records, done about 6 screws.
He had his fights with the screws when they first went away. He tried to kill himself. Ain't no one said about that, but he tried to kill himself because he was sick of the life he had in there.
Yeah, I can't be missed in Long Larn prison on 2 occasions, one twice in Parkhurst. I think it was the depression at the time. I think I was on some medication, and its side effects, I believe they've done it, side effects of the medication. Valium.
I don't think he meant to top himself. I think it was a cry, a terrible cry. Help me.
A man who does more than 10 years is changed for the worse, forever, I believe. An ordinary man of ordinary capacity, I think, is ruined by it. You've got to have some spark of genius, or maybe a political ideal.
Everyone sees it more than reasonable. If I'd have been out 15 years ago, at least the most, you see. But why I never, I can't explain.
If Reggie Kray had expressed complete remorse some years ago when his 30 years was up, then the probability is that he would have been allowed out.
I think it was everything, the books and the films and everything that had gone around. And I do believe that when they sentenced Reg and Ron, and they sent them to prison, and they locked the doors, and they believed that they had well and truly thrown away the key, and that the next step would simply be obscurity. And in fact, the exact opposite happened. And the media interest grew and the public fascination grew. And the Home Office found itself 27 years down the road with two men who had become incredibly famous.
The idea of somebody who's in prison becoming the subject matter of a film is deeply unpopular. I think it's felt that somehow, even if it isn't financially, they will benefit. And benefit by the fame, if that is a benefit, by the notoriety. The last thing that anybody in prison needs is a high profile. And they were, to a certain extent, author of their own misfortunes.
So I got a certain amount of writing ability, which I think my mother's passed down to me. She wasn't a writer herself. She's got great common sense in there, but I seem to get these inspirational flashes, and I think it's passed down from my mother. I can't see it being coming from anyone else.
Among his writings were certain revelations that were not popular with other members of the firm, who were still serving long prison sentences.
4 or 5 years later, he admits it. I done that for him. What good was that to me, or any of the other defendants, any of us? Nothing. Yeah, I was disillusioned with it. Big sick about it. There I am sitting in the nick for something that he couldn't admit before, and a couple of years later he comes out of it. Did we all go down for him to write a book?
Ronnie Kray wanted a traditional East End funeral, and his family made sure his wishes were respected down to the last detail. Among the masses of flowers was a tribute from Reggie, which read, "To the other half of me."
And then came the message from Reg. My brother Ron is now free and at peace. Ron had great humour, a vicious temper, was kind and generous. He did it all his way, but above all he was a man. And that's how I'll always remember my twin brother, Ron. God bless Reg Kray.
Yeah, I used to get pre-warnings type thing. If I felt that he wasn't right in himself, I get a kind of instinct about it. And I knew he was always right. We had a form of communication. It's very difficult. I still got it, in fact. My back area feels very burning in a nice way. A nice, warm, glowing feeling. And I think that's Ron's presence. I've not had it since I was in Maidstone. It's been back the last few days.
Do you think you were dominated by Ronnie?
Well, I suppose there's a possibility. I allowed him to dominate me to a point. I think it's some silly thing I made that just let there be peace. You see? Yeah.
I don't doubt that there was a big space in Reggie's life and a terrible emptiness. And I can't say I went in and filled that, because you can't replace someone else, you can't take the place of them, but you can just help to ease that pain and to give someone some love. And if they can give you some love back as well, then you have achieved something.
I think Rob's influence is very great on me, you know. And so she's got a great influence on me, without being stern. Without any influence coming across. It's there. You know, I would never be dominated by any woman or anyone else. But she's got great influence over me, and we get on well together.
We'd lost everything, really. We'd given everything up for them. Our future, our lives.
Our club got ruined after the trial. Within a matter of about months, the police revoked the licence and put us out of business. it's like the association, the smear it rubbed off on us, you understand? 1970, that was it, it was all over.
It's really a Cockney tragedy. It's a very, very sad, god-awful story. The idea of it actually encouraging anyone, or anyone wanted to be like the Krays, is another part of the sadness, because it's something sad in our own society, which makes heroes of people like this.
What better message can you put out to the would-be gangsters of today, or the criminals coming up? These are the heroes you look up to the youth, and say, well, look what happened to them. The three of them have all died in prison.
I find it hard to believe they're all gone, sitting here tonight. But it seems to me that that's the way it had to be, one or the other. It was a warning that if you do this, or you do that, this is what can happen to you. And I think that was the message left here over the years.
Prison life is a waste of time. I get letters from all over the country. These kids write to me, and I advise them. It's very difficult when kids got nothing to do harm and they've got no money, and they've got all kinds of social problems there. So it's easier to say than it is done. But speaking from my heart to them, I'd like to see them stay in prison. But whether they can do so, I don't know. Some will make it and some won't.